Hey everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here to recap Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 10, Episode 19, which was part 1 of the season reunion. As always, I hope everyone is having a wonderful day and that your week has gotten started off with a positive bang. Thank you to everyone who's watching the video. Thank you to the new subscribers. If you haven't subscribed but you're watching the videos, please go ahead and do so. It doesn't cost you anything. I love comments. I love feedback. So go ahead and drop it in the comment section, but keep it classy and keep it positive, because even criticism can be constructive and conveyed in a positive way. So guys, what did you think about reunion part 1? Did you think it was good? Did you think it was bad? Did you think it was just mediocre? Do you think it's going to get better? Was it representative of the season that we just finished? I think it was representative of the season because I thought the season was a bit of a dud. It wasn't as exciting. You guys know, if you've been following my videos, you know that I am team freaking frat. And so I definitely miss Phaedra. And I really didn't like how they just dropped Phaedra from the show. Like she just never existed. But that's how shady Andy is, so we can't really expect anything better. And I know people that hate Phaedra are like, no, it was better without her. Those of us who love Phaedra was like, yeah, it was definitely missing her spice to the show, you know, what she added to the show. But I loved the camaraderie between her and Porsha, and I really hope that their friendship in real life really isn't over and that they still hang out together and everything. But let's go ahead and get into the recap. So, you know, as always with the reunions, we have to start out with the fashions and how everybody looked, and seemed like ponytails was the order of the day. We had several. I think Cynthia had a ponytail. Kandi had a ponytail. Sheree had a ponytail. I think Nene had a ponytail. I can't remember. I can't remember how Marlo's hair was, but I think when Eva joins the show in either part 2 or part 3, she's gonna have a ponytail also. So yeah, there were a lot of ponytail looks going on, and they all looked fantastic. And if you get a chance, I'm going to recap Iyanla Fix My Life. We're going to talk about a ponytail on that show as well. And so compared to Sister Latanya's ponytail on Fix My Life, all these ponytails were beautiful. They were fabulous. So Kenya, and we're just going to go in the order of how they were seated, you know, because they have like the 2 sofas and then Andy is sitting in the middle. So we start with Kenya, and although I love a yellow dress, and you see by this back wall, I love yellow, period. But I just think that a brown-skinned woman, like I'm a darker complexion, Kenya's dark skin. I think yellow on darker complexion women, I think, is so beautiful, and it just pops and it sparkles. And although the dress that Kenya had on, it was a pretty dress, I thought for Kenya it was kind of basic. You know, she usually comes out twirling around and thinking she all fabulous and everything, but I guess she's playing into her little skit about being a married woman and, you know, all that good stuff, and, you know, settling down and being submissive to her husband, and I guess he ain't up for the shenanigans, so she's trying to tone it down for us. Then it was Cynthia. So over the past week, I was watching, because you guys know I love tennis, and last week they had the Volvo Open, which was in Charleston, South Carolina. So when Cynthia came out in her red dress, she was giving me like 1800s Charleston, South Carolina, and all that was missing was the big red floppy hat and a frilly foo-foo umbrella. So Porsha, I don't know if y'all know this, but Porsha and Andy came to slay in their color-coordinated purple outfit. So I was like, okay, Porsha, what's going on with you and Andy? I like you, the new queen bee right now. So in addition to her beautiful purple dress, you know, which represents royalty, Porsha was wearing a big gaudy gold crown, letting the ladies know that despite their efforts, the queen is still on the throne. She's adjusted her crown and wants to remind them that throughout history, real queens have always stood alone. So purple, like I say, is my favorite color in the entire universe. And if I could reach the camera and turn it into my living area, which is the living room, kitchen, and dining room area, we got all kinds of shades of purple going on in there. So that alone gave Porsha's velvet purple body fitting, you know, mermaid ensemble the top prize for best dress. So then we go over to Miss Nene. So there was a lot of cleavage showing last night. Your girl is not a fan of, you know, the side boob, the half boob. You can see the areola of my boob. My boob would pop out if it wasn't taped to my dress. Shenanigans, but I digress. I thought Nene's dress was nice. Design fit her personality because it had like a lot of fringe going on. And I also appreciated, you know, the age appropriateness of the skin tone flesh that covered the neckline, and it kind of went down throughout the dress. So Kandi, I like Kandi's dress. You know, it was a champagne color. I think it had gold sequins here and there. I think it was also body fitting, and it was definitely a step up from what she wore last year. That's what I can say about Kandi's dress. Because I don't remember Kandi walking out. It seemed like she was sitting down the entire time that I saw her. So then we had Sheree, and you know, Bravo shaded Sheree because when Sheree was getting off the bus, arriving at the hotel, she had on one of them jogging suits and I was like, come on, Sheree. And they were just making Sheree look really bad. And then I kind of felt bad when I was doing the recap because I really don't remember Sheree's dress. Like, I think it was like a blush or pink mauve light color. But I just can't tell you nothing about the design. There was just like nothing about Sheree that stood out last night except for she appeared to be like on some antidepressants or something because her responses and her reactions to the questions and the shade being thrown at her was so delayed. And I don't know if it was the editing that was making her look that way, but it was like she was a few seconds behind. And then Michelle Brown, you know, aka Straight from the A, did announce late last week that Sheree had been fired from the show. So she didn't know if she was fired, that they simply didn't renew her contract. But she said that she believed she was fired. But then when she was talking about the show last night, she said that there were other people that were now coming forward saying that they simply didn't renew Sheree's contract, that she lost her peach, but they are open to letting her have like cameo friendship appearances next season. So I guess if she can find somebody who trusts her enough to film with her, then we might see Sheree in next season. But Michelle doesn't think that that is the case. And then we move over to Marlo. So Marlo wasn't out there in the beginning. She came like halfway through the show. And so I'm going to give Marlo's dress a pass because it was a shade of purple and I love purple. But I don't know, last night I wasn't feeling the dress because it looked like, oh, before Marlo came out, she was telling the producers that Porsha had stole her idea. So I don't know whether she was talking about the purple dress or if she was talking about the crown. But she said that Porsha had stole her idea. And so all I can say for Marlo's dramatic entrance was that she looked like somebody had got a whole bunch of purple tulle, which is like that sheer, itchy like fabric that you see in wedding dresses and stuff, and like bridesmaids dresses, and just looked like they just kept wrapping it around and around and around and around till they got to the top, and then it didn't have any straps or any sleeves. So that's how I was feeling when I wrote this, wrote my notes down. But then Wendy Williams was doing a recap on her show today, and then she showed a picture of Marlo where Marlo was outside before the taping, and she actually looked real pretty in the dress. So I'm gonna upgrade you, Marlo, from a D to a B minus, because that picture did give the dress a whole new light. So overall, all the ladies look nice. They brought their own style to the show and stayed away from the color themes, because you know some seasons they've had where everybody has on the same color, but then they have like a different design. As always, the makeup and hair was on point, except for Sheree, who really showed up like she knew that this was her last reunion, and like I said, maybe was on some antidepressants or something to hold it together so she wouldn't break down and cry. I don't know what was going on with Sheree. Maybe her and Tyrone had a fight before the filming, but Sheree was not her normal self on this reunion. What did you all think about the fashions? Were they on point, off base, or just right? Who gets your award for best dress? And did your favorite cast member come to slay? So go ahead and leave your comments below and let me know what you were thinking. So now let's get into the recap. So it was only fitting that we talk about Andy and the shade. Okay, so this year I am going to pay more attention to the other Housewives series and see if he's as messy with them, or is it like a different level of messy. But I don't know, this season I was feeling, I was feeling some kind of way about the way Andy treats the Real Housewives of Atlanta women. It's like, I don't know if he's just sick of them. Then I thought back to the episode where they were talking about the whole gay issue. I don't know if he's like lost respect for him, if he's tired of the shenanigans that's going on, but he definitely seems to have lost a little respect for some of the cast members. So in honor of their 10-year anniversary, we got to look back at all the women and their ever-changing fashion trends, and Andy makes sure to let us know that their wigs, makeup, and faces have changed a lot. I need a palm tree, y'all, so I can just start waving the palm tree back and forth. So let's start with Cynthia, because she brought very little to the reunion since she really didn't have a storyline this year. She let Andy know that she's no longer 50 cents, she is 51 cents, because she's had a birthday, and she pretty much just gave us background chatter, you know, on the other conversations that were taking place. Her big moment was when Porsha asked Kenya if Cynthia was her best friend, why didn't she invite Cynthia to her wedding? And then Kenya said that, you know, she was going to answer the question, but Cynthia wasn't going to like the answer. And then she said that basically Cynthia is a blabbermouth and she couldn't trust her not to run back and tell everybody else. And I'm like, yeah, that was about it for Cynthia. That was the highlight of the show. And of course, Cynthia's feelings was hurt and said that if Kenya had told her that she wanted to keep it a secret and, you know, not let anybody know what was going on yet, she wanted to be the one to reveal it, that she would have kept the secret. And then Nene made like I couldn't tell whether Nene was throwing shade or if she was being sarcastic, but she was like, imagine that, you know, let me go back and check, you know, would Cynthia blab and tell? So I was like trying to think back to a time that Cynthia had told something about Nene that she wasn't supposed to tell. So guys, if you knew where Nene was coming from, leave it in the comments so I would know as well. Speaking of Kenya, she haphazardly announced that her and Mark are expecting a baby at the end of the year, but refused to confirm if she is pregnant, as in a baby is growing inside of her, you know, leading to speculation that if Mark is actually entering into a co-parenting situation with her, it will be through adoption or surrogacy. But then on Wendy Williams today, they said that Kenya posted on social media that she does not have a surrogate, but she didn't come out and say, I'm actually pregnant, I'm carrying the baby. And then Wendy, you know, being shady, was saying how Kenya has been seen going in and out of infertility clinics. So like, Kenya working hard trying to save her peach. And you know, when Andy started grilling her about her wedding and calling her out for excluding Bravo from the festivities, Kenya's story unraveled a bit. And I'm just like, Kenya working hard to stay on this show, and then we're going to need you to stop interrogating her like this. We learned that Kenya has never met Mark's parents in person, so she's been married since July of last year. and that their relationship, it was basically a phone introduction. Like they were on the phone one day and Mark said, "This is my wife," and looked like that's where it ended. So when I asked if she thought that it was odd that she has never met his parents face to face, she claimed that when they eloped, Mark's parents were on a cruise, and then she also claims that Mark proposed to her and said, "Oh, I want to get married right away. I want to go elope," and that's why nobody was invited, and that's why Bravo wasn't a part of the ceremony, and that, you know, he planned everything from beginning to end. I was just like, okay, Kenya, we're going to roll with you on this. And so she says that the parents were on a cruise when they got married, and since then it's been difficult meeting them because they live in another state. And I'm thinking, okay, Kenya, it don't seem to be difficult for you to keep flying from Atlanta to New York, where Mark lives at. So where could his parents possibly live in these United States of America that would be more than, like if you had a layover, would be more than a 6 or 7 hour flight for you? Like, come on, girl, you gotta do better than that. And then also, Kenya been posting pictures of her and Mark allegedly in Egypt. And I say allegedly because nowadays people can be anywhere in the world that they want to be without ever leaving the comfort of their couch. So I don't know, Kenya, whether y'all were really in Egypt or not, but if you can fly all the way to Egypt, surely you can fly to wherever his parents live at and meet them in person. Especially since you claim y'all about to have a baby. Then Andy lowered the boom when he countered Kenya's assertion that Mark has never watched the show by letting her know that Mark has spoken openly to several of his colleagues, aka gay white men, and told them that he does not like the show because it portrays black women in a negative light. But Kenya seemed taken aback and unaware of the conversations or that Mark has mutual friends with Andy. So I thought that was interesting. And when asked what Mark thought about her performance and her behavior on the show in past seasons, and, you know, what did he think was her representation of black women, but Kenya still insisted that Mark has never watched that show, so he doesn't have an opinion one way or the other. That, y'all, let me know. Do you really think that man married Kenya and has never ever watched one episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta? Like, he has no clue how foul-mouthed, how nasty, how vindictive, how angry she is before he married her, before he proposed to her. Like, come on, Kenya, let's be for real. Okay, y'all, I looked to the left and realized that I didn't have my earrings and my Pandora bracelet on, so I had to put them on. But moving on to Porsha. So we had the whole played out refusal of Kandi to forgive Porsha for what happened like a year ago. And now we have Kandi with the quivering voice being overly dramatic, saying that Porsha accused her of sexual assault and it could have ruined her brand. Kandi, there was no sexual assault allegation, so please knock it off. So stop making the issue bigger and bigger every time you talk about it. And most important, stop talking about it. And let me say this also, that forgiveness is really not about the person whose actions you were offended by. It is about you and why you are offended. So the fact that Kandi is dragging this out says more about her than it does about Porsha. And so maybe Kandi got some secret demons going on, and that the whole situation really struck a nerve with her. And so whether she really wanted to have sex with Porsha, you know, if she's experimented with ecstasy or some other drug while having sex, it's something that was triggered when Phaedra and Porsha did their little skit for last season that has really bothered Kandi. I don't know if Kandi is afraid that something is going to come out from her past or something that her and Todd has done. I don't know, but Kandi, you need to look inside your sunken place and figure out why it is that you just can't let this go, why you keep dragging it on, and I don't know, and deal with it. Like, or is it just that you don't have a storyline? So this was making, in your mind, making your story more important on the show because this was all you had to talk about. But what I will say is that I'm so happy that Porsha finally told all of the women that she could give less than a damn about how any of them are feeling about her, that she's not apologizing again, and they need to figure out how to deal with it because she has straightened her crown and she's done with the topic. So speaking of apologies, Sheree feels that she is doing an apology for Porsha saying to Shamea not to trust the women, including Sheree. So like with Kandi, Porsha shared that she apologized to Sheree in private and that she wasn't apologizing again. So at the end of the day, the self-proclaimed bone collector has a lot of nerve thinking that she can be trusted when all she does is keep stuff going by going to and fro and repeating what people have said to her in confidence. And so she then got all indignant, talking about, I'm the bone collector and I choose what bones to carry and when I'm going to carry it. I'm like, but you got to defeat your argument against Porsha because you're showing that you are messy and cannot be trusted. So what I wish the women would understand is that, one, if you have to demand an apology from someone, it doesn't matter what they say or how they say it. It's never going to be good enough. And this was clearly demonstrated when the women kept telling Porsha that what she should have said was this, or what she should have said was that, when she apologized. So they're showing right there that it doesn't matter what she says, and if she asks them to write her a script and then she'll read the script to them, then they're going to say it wasn't authentic and why did they have to tell her what to say. And although they are on the reunion show and being asked about the instances, because the reunion show is to talk about what happened during the season of the show, they seem to think that Porsha shouldn't say anything because in essence, she is negating her apologies and coming across as insincere. So y'all got to make up y'all mind. Do you want this way or do you want that way? Because the listening audience is kind of over it. I think the consensus is that there's more people sick and tired of hearing about the apology that's old than there are people that's sitting there waiting on an apology. When Marlo joined the ladies on the couch, and maybe it's because I'm too grown and so are they, okay, for this childish bickering back and forth, but her and Kenya go, they get to going at each other. And I know some of y'all think Kenya be reading for days, but I just hear all of her insecurities screaming to get out. She always calling people ugly, talking about their looks. She's always calling people a whore. She's always questioning other people's self-worth when she's so-called reading them. And no matter how beautiful Kenya is on the outside, I believe that Kenya feels very ugly and unaccepted on the inside, which goes back to the rejection by her mother and whatever secrets that we may never know as to why her mother to this day refuses to have a conversation with her or a relationship with her. So the only thing worth noting is that Kenya thought that she was spilling some tea on Marlo about dating the pizza guy. And I always think about Papa John's Pizza whenever that guy comes up. But remember him, he was the white guy. His name was John. And when Nene and Greg were separated or divorced or whatever they call themselves being, Nene was talking to him. So Nene introduced him on the show during that season, but Nene shut it down real quick because she shared that although Marlo broke the girl code by talking to John, that Marlo did come and tell her, and since it was after her and Greg had already remarried, it was a non-issue to her. And she also added that she was surprised that John had any money left over to spend on Marlo because she thought that she had bled him dry when they were together. So now y'all tell me, how is Nene taking the man money any different from Marlo taking the man money? Marlo did add that she never had sex with John and that he gave her coins in the range of $20,000, which was enough to pay her monthly Neiman Marcus bill. Alrighty, y'all, I'm definitely not a part of the lifestyles of the rich and famous. So I'm sure there was more discussed, but that's all that is really resonating with me in the moment. The show ended with Porsha bringing up how protective Sheree is of Kim and how she knew that Kim had the video from Nene's bathroom months before she posted it. And this was a segue into part 2, so we can discuss next week. And I will share my thoughts on how I feel Kim used Sheree. So Sheree is allegedly gone from the show, but Kim, you know, still has, I guess, her cameo appearances. And then she also has that horrible Don't Be Tardy for the part 1 Don't Be Tardy show, which I don't understand how it's still on Bravo. And so Kim is going to be all right. And if she was really Sheree's friend, wouldn't she give Sheree some airtime? Like, I don't think we've ever, not that I watched the show, but the couple of times I have been watching Bravo and the show has come on, I don't recall ever seeing any of the women from the Atlanta show doing like cameos or, you know, hanging out with Kim or whatever. So if you watch Don't Be Tardy, please leave it in the comments and let me know if any of the other women appear on the show, if Kim and Sheree's friendship is mentioned or highlighted on the show. So guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you thought about the episode. Are you here for reunion part 2? So leave your comments below, rate the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.